be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I can answer that for the President. It's, for him, no, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer that. It will be...
President, decide what will it take for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I can answer that for the President. It's, for him, no, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer that. It will be...
Our President will respond to you.
Yeah, let me,
Thank you, Mr. President.
it will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us on the around a quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But, Mr. President, I must say that we have, wait. We have thousands of stories talking about it.
Sure.
And we have documentaries, we have news stories, and that. Is Natalie here, somebody here to turn that? I could show you a couple of things, and it has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see the articles, please, if you would, and turn the lights down, and just put this on. It's right behind you, Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. South Africa occupy land. That's who we are. So whatever you want to do, we can withdraw my membership from this useless parliament.
Death. Horrible death. Death. I don't know.
But you know that there are
Pick
black
anyone.
people who are
White
dying
South
the most.
Africans are fleeing because of the violence and racist laws. And this is all. I mean, I'll give these to you.
No, I'd like
So
to-
when you say what would I like to do, I don't know what to do.
I
Look
mean,
at this.
but-
White South African couple say that they were attacked violently.
President Trump, when will you go and see for yourself if it is?
Well, I could do that. Look, here's burial sites all over the place.
President Trump-
These are all white farmers that are being buried.
President Trump.
And he asks about a jet that was given.
My first question
You
is
ought
about
to be
Africa.
ashamed.
We're not interested in the
You know,
jet.
you are so bad. You're such a bad reporter.
If they're committing genocide, why invite them? If they are committing genocide, why invite the South Africans? Why not?
May I finish, please, President Trump? President
This
Trump,
is
may I
one
finish?
after another. This family was wiped out. I'm just looking.
Can we get a
President
response from President
Ramaphosa, can you give us
Ramaphosa,
your
please?
reaction to those videos, Mr. President?
President Trump, could you?
Well, I
could
think
you
it's.
address
I think
black
the
people
videos are
dying
so.
more than white
No,
people?
no. When you look at the videos, I mean, how does it get worse? And these are people that are officials, and they're saying that kill the white farmer and take their land. That's what it is. And I have other friends in South Africa. I have people that left. One in particular that says you can't go there. He said they want to take your land. They take your land and they kill you. It's okay, and they say it's okay to do. Now we're going to talk about it.
We're going to.
But this is a tremendous look. This is a story recent. These are all people that recently got killed.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it can get any worse. These are all
President
good.
Trump,
And you know, the men that you saw, the people that you saw in that movie, those are officials. Those are people that were in office. They had one march, they had a dance in your parliament, whatever you may call it, legislature.
But let
and
me
it was
clarify
terrible.
that.
Yeah.
Let me clarify that, because what you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies, and in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
Nobody can
and
take
then when
land.
they take the land, they kill the white farmer. And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No, there is
Nothing happens to
There
them.
is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people. And we have now
The farmers aren't black. The farmers are not black. I don't say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black. And the people that
White South African farmers are being killed in mass numbers, and the government is letting it happen. This is the next Rwanda happening right now in South Africa. No, folks, this is not no white genocide happening in South Africa. But Trump is making it seem so, and it's hard not to wonder what the agenda may be. Trump just sat down with South Africa's president in the Oval Office, and within minutes, the whole thing spiraled into a very bizarre, fear-fueled rant about land seizures, farm killings, and some wild talk about genocide. Statements that white farmers are being hunted down and executed. The thing is, none of that is actually backed up by facts. So let's unpack the whole thing right now. Let's start with what actually happened. Trump invited President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa to Washington. And at first, it seemed like a pretty normal meeting. The typical handshakes, peace talk, some back-patting about cooperating in Congo and Ukraine, all that typical leader-to-leader stuff. But then, in true Trump fashion, he completely derailed the conversation. He started pulling up videos and articles, even graveyard footage, claiming that white South African farmers are being killed in mass numbers, and that the government is letting it happen. Now, let's be real. This isn't new rhetoric from Trump. He's been pushing this narrative since 2018, when he tweeted the South African government was seizing land from white farmers and that large-scale killings were being ignored by the media. And, of course, Tucker Carlson ran with it on Fox News, saying it was the beginning of genocide. Here's the part they always leave out. There is no genocide. According to South African Police Service, farm murders account for less than 1% of total homicides in the country. And they're not just targeting white farmers. Black farm workers, Black landowners, even rural villagers. Everyone is being affected by violent crime in South Africa, not just white Afrikaners. For Trump, it's not about facts. It's about optics. It's about creating a narrative that white people are being hunted and he only has the courage to say it out loud. But this is where things get disturbing. In the Oval Office meeting, Trump literally said, "They're taking people's land away, and in many cases, those people are being executed." Now, these are false allegations. And it's this kind of language and behavior that actually endangers people, because it fuels the same white replacement theory that motivated the Buffalo shooter, the Christchurch massacre, and so many attacks rooted in racial paranoia. To make things even more surreal, Trump then snapped at a reporter who asked about the Qatari jet donation to the US Air Force, calling him a terrible reporter and saying NBC should be investigated. Okay, honestly, you just showed very graphic images of dead farmers, and now you're mad someone asked about foreign aid? So what's actually happening in South Africa? Okay, yes, the government passed the expropriation bill in 2024. This bill allows land to be taken without compensation in very specific cases. It's usually when land is unused, abandoned, or held purely for speculation. And yes, some of that land is owned by white South Africans. That's because apartheid systematically stole land from Black South Africans for nearly a century. So now they're trying to correct that. And it's not some lawless land grab. It has to go through a legal process. There are court challenges. There is a constitutional framework. It's not the mob storming into farms taking possession. But that's how Trump wants to put the picture out for you, because that's news that sells better. So let's talk numbers for a quick moment. In 2023, South Africa had about 27,000 murders. Of those, around 60 were farm murders. And those weren't all white victims. Many were Black workers or owners. In fact, according to Agri-SA, one of the country's largest farming organizations, there are no evidence of white farmers being targeted based on race. Compare that to the US, where over 25,000 people die just from gun violence every single year. But you don't see Trump talking about that with the same intensity. You don't hear him screaming about urban genocide or Black deaths in Chicago. This is about weaponizing race to gain political points. The South African president actually handled this pretty well, in my opinion, because if I was in his position, the likeliness that I would have respectfully exited that situation is very high. South Africa's president respectfully pushed back, calmly but clearly. He explained that what Trump was describing wasn't government policy, that the people Trump was quoting were part of a fringe minority parties like the EFF, which are very small parties. And not only that, but that is not even his administration. He said, look, yeah, our country has a crime problem. We're trying to fix it. But you don't get to just twist that into genocide. He also reminded Trump that South Africa is a democracy. And in a democracy, political parties, even the extreme ones, are allowed to say sometimes very stupid things. But that doesn't mean they run the country. That would be like judging any one country solely based on one extremely small extremist party. But Trump kept doubling down. He said, you're taking people's land and executing them. And they happen to be white. He was making very bold statements. No data to back it up, no names, just accusations and graveyard clips. And then he said something even more dangerous. He claimed thousands of white South Africans are trying to come to the US and Australia because they fear being killed. He said they're fleeing for their lives. Let's be clear. There is no surge in refugee claims from South African farmers. Australia toyed with the idea of creating a special visa for them in 2018, but backed off after backlash. The US hasn't even touched it because it's not real. It's a propaganda piece wrapped up in humanitarian language. This is how misinformation spreads. We've got people in our own country, especially in some far-right Telegram groups, sharing these exact same videos, using this exact same language. White genocide, globalist land seizures, UN-backed farm murderers. It's all imported paranoia dressed up in South African clothes. And it's not just fringe nonsense. It bleeds into mainstream conversations. And once that fear gets normalized, it justifies everything from stricter immigration policies to actual hate crimes. And let's not forget, Canada has its own land issues. We're still fighting over Indigenous land claims. We've got protests over pipelines and protected areas. Imagine if someone twisted that into Black Canadians are coming for your land. These are the narratives that should never make headlines because this is what ignites racism and racial controversies. So what's the takeaway here? South Africa is dealing with some problems. crime, inequality, corruption, but it's not a war zone. And it's definitely not a white genocide. Trump using this issue to score political points is not just completely unnecessary, but it's dangerous. Because every time he says it, someone out there believes it. And someone out there decides to act on it. So we need to stay sharp. Don't take Oval Office rants as gospel. Check the numbers, check the facts, and form your own opinion. And let's not stop treating every Trump outburst like a scoop. Most of the time, it's just another distraction. And in my opinion, this is another terribly embarrassing moment for the United States of America. They might as well just start their soap opera show. All right, folks, well, thank you so much for joining me on my second live I've ever done. It's a little rusty, but I'm working on it. If you enjoyed this video breaking down political crap, calling out misinformation, and digging into facts, please hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and drop a comment below. Thanks so much for watching. And lastly, I have all of my sources for my videos right here, just so that you know that this is credible information that I have provided you with today. And that's all for now. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good day.